Hello and welcome to Following On. I'm Jon Norman alongside Jeremy Coney.
That's me.
From talkSPORT, that's him. Looking back at I think it's fair to say it was a dramatic day at Headingley. A lot happened. There were runs scored, there was another couple of centuries, there were wickets taken, there was swing, there was plays and misses, there was drop catches, there was overturned leg before decisions, there were no ball wickets, there was some pretty pedestrian bowling, there was rain, there was cloud cover, there was sun. I don't know where to start. Well, let's start with Ollie Pope, because he's currently sitting down there to the right of us somewhere, unless he comes through for the presser, and he's got 100 not out next to his name. There was a lot of talk. There's always talk about usually one batter and one bowler. Jacob Bethel, would he play? Would it be Ollie Pope? He hit 170 against Zimbabwe. He did really well in New Zealand, let's not forget, and he did play. And he's just scored a century, and that will put that little story to bed for at least, I don't know, 3 tests.
Well, you'd hope so, wouldn't you? I mean, in New Zealand, of course, he was keeping, so he was batting a little bit lower, but he made very, important contributions right through those test matches. And certainly when he came up to 3, you mentioned the Zimbabwe 170, and here today, he was in early in the first over, wasn't he, when Crawley was dismissed. So they were 1 for 4, England, and we thought, well, here we go. Bumrah was right on target, very much right from the start of his spell, and pressure on the batsman. But Pope played aggressively, didn't he, right through that early part of his innings. They ran well together, Duckett and Pope together. They kind of were working after each other. They were chasing each other, really, very close together. And they got to about 100 by, I think, tea time, just for 1 down.
Yep, 107 for 1.
Yeah, and both playing a range of shots. Once Bumrah was removed from the bowling crease, the level of threat, I felt, fell quite dramatically from the rest of the Indian bowlers. And so the batting looked a little more easy, I felt, at that time. When they, and then suddenly, they had gone through a difficult period where the clouds had swept in, hadn't they, and the lights were on and Bumrah was moving it around. They'd got through that, and batting had become much easier. And Pope really just kept on playing that way, even when Duckett was dismissed, going for a big drive from Bumrah, and he got an inside edge and back into his stumps, and that brought Root to the crease. He actually looked a bit more uncertain today, didn't you think? He just couldn't quite get started, and never really got underway, as we know that he can. But it was Pope who was leading that partnership very nicely, actually. Got very close to his 100, Root on strike, and he just tried to just knock a little single, but he got a very fine edge. It was too fine, and it went through to the first slip, and he was taken, he was out. So at that stage, Root then got to his... at that stage, Pope then got to his 100. A significant innings, one that will prove to everybody he deserves the number 3 at the moment.
Absolutely. There were some big moments, though, in this game, weren't they, today? And India will be regretting 7 wickets, or 41 runs scored for 7 wickets, 430 for 3, with Shubman Gill 147 and Rishabh Pant going nicely, very nicely. We'll talk about him in a second, actually, to be bowled out for 471. England came out to bat, and as you say, the conditions, the ball was zipping around. It was very dark. We had an extended period where the rain had come in. Maybe that just put a little bit of juice in the wicket. Crawley went in the first over, and there were a couple of decisions that went England's way. There was a close LBW, which Ollie Pope survived. He was also dropped on 60 by Jaiswal at third slip. Duckett was dropped, straightforward chance of backward point.
And by Jadeja of all people.
Of all people, who was quite sloppy today. He misfielded one just below us as well. And then, of course, the big moment in the final over of the innings. Harry Brook, with England deciding not to employ a night watch. Harry Brook coming out with the best part of 10 minutes to go and trying to hook Bumrah. Getting caught well by Siraj. He clothed it. It was a good catch.
Mid-wicket.
Mid-wicket, only for Bumrah to have overstepped.
Yeah.
And another moment just went back the way of England's way.
Yeah, I mean, going back to the start of the day, we've seen quite a change in the narrative of the game. Not one side in charge, as we'd seen so far on day one, and also into today as well. I mean, 359 for 3 after 1 hour became, 430. So they were going very well. Punt had got to 100 at that point, celebrated with a somersault and a pike and a twist.
Was it a somersault or a front flip?
Well, it certainly was all of those things, and I was going to give it 9 out of 10. Frankly, it was a very fine little gymnastic move out towards mid-wicket, wasn't it? Rather nice. So then things started to change, didn't they? And it was quite odd. They got through to 430, and then it was Shubman Gill, who was looked really very untroubled right through his innings. He decided to a little pick-up shot against Shoaib Bashir, and instead of just sort of knocking it into the area, he decided to go for 6. And he picked out Tongue there right on the backward square boundary, and so he was suddenly out, and that started things, didn't it? Suddenly, with the change in the weather, and Tongue, who had taken the catch, came to the bowling crease. He got swing, he got late swing, and he dismissed Punt immediately. LBW, he swapped ends, and then he got another 3 wickets as well. So from getting no wickets at the start of the day, he suddenly had 4 very cheaply. And also there was Stokes as well, picking up another couple as well. So suddenly a huge collapse by the Indian side, and instead of the prospects of 550, they were all dismissed for 471 and losing 7 for 41.
It reminds me, actually, you describing that moment Shubman Gill was dismissed of, I think it was Marnus Labuschagne here at this very ground in 2023. And in second innings, or what was pretty much a 1 innings game, Australia were 80 for 1. They'd had a first innings lead of about 30, I think. So they were good. They were 2-0 up in the series. And Moeen Ali was bowling. At the same end, Shoaib Bashir bowled the football ground end. And Marnus Labuschagne did something very similar. He just picked up and he plopped one straight into the fielder's hand on the leg side. And that set in motion a bit of a collapse from Australia. England were given 250 to chase in second innings rather than 350. They won the game by 3 wickets. Big moment, and I think Shubman Gill.
Well, that's a big moment for India too, really,
definitely.
Wasn't it? Now, why for the 6? He hadn't been hitting 6s really.
No, he
had left that to Punt, hadn't he? For his innings.
227 balls faced, and he hit 1 6.
Yeah. So it was to the large side. To the longer side.
Absolutely, it is the longer side. Bumrah picked up on that straight away.
Yeah.
So, that was a big moment in the day. Before Harmy comes in, let's just talk about Rishabh Pant just briefly, because that was comedy. There was classical stroke play. There was gymnastics. There was desperation and bat flinging when he should have been stumped. From Bashir again. I mean, that was out and out.
It's dramatic, isn't it?
Out and out entertainment. The great entertainer.
Yeah, it was drama.
In a previous life, he's...
a wild variety of shots, from drives and cuts, which we are accustomed to, but to those falling down. Sort of down on one knee,
commando roll,
hitting the back of the ball to get it over leg slip, or he's just got such a wide range, and what a good eye and hands as well, and as you say, losing the bat on occasion, it just adds to the drama, and the
fun.
He absolutely the fun. So
a
memorable innings,
and play with a smile.
Always.
Jerry, thank you for your time. You're going to be back as part of the commentary team on day 3, day 4, possibly day 5.
Yep, I'll go and get Harmy.
You go and get Harmy. I want to find out what rabbit pie means. So, when Josh Tongue cleaned up Krishna, I think it was, Ben Stokes ran in like comedy eating, and I said to Bumble or Jeremy, it might be me and Jeremy on comms, I think Ben Stokes is saying that he's feasting on some bunnies, some tailenders. I don't think he used to eat bunnies, actually. And then, fast forward a few hours, I hear this term rabbit pie.
Yeah,
what's all that about?
Rabbit pie, I'm not sure. I think Stuart Broad mentioned it on the TV, was what the actual celebration was about. So, rabbits at the bottom of the order. Numbers 9, 10, 11. Your bunnies, and as a proper fast bowler, which Josh Tongue is, when you get a team 7 down, you've got to be an absolute nasty piece of work. I was like that. I enjoyed it when 9, 10, 11 came in. Can't bat, scared the ball, and you put the frighteners up them. And to be fair, I don't think he was as aggressive as what I thought he could be with a short ball. But he knocked over the tail, and that's
he was aiming at the stumps,
wasn't he? Exactly. You use your short ball wisely, and you move the the rabbit away from the stumps, and you try and hit them. And Josh Tongue, boy, he did. And I was so pleased for him because he came off yesterday. I mean, his head was up his backside. He really, really toiled yesterday, and today, to see a bowler smile on his face with a 4-foot, yeah, I'm happy with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Give us your thoughts about Ollie Pope. Do you know what? Because Ben Stokes and the team are just to the left of us, I was actually watching Ben Stokes. I thought Stokes might just have a little look up to the press box, because he did get annoyed, didn't he? He was getting a bit moody with the press in that room just over there, and pointing to the where the guys turn up for media duty. He was just getting a little bit annoyed by all this.
But it's his fault.
Yeah, well, he did play a part.
He played a part in it. So did Luke Wright.
Yes, I won't disagree. But equally, Ollie Pope has answered a few critics, because there have been critics.
Yeah, and critics rightly so, because
I'd say so.
Yeah,
he doesn't score runs.
He doesn't. He scores runs, or he doesn't score runs. There's not really anything in between with young Ollie. But the one thing he's doing is he's doing a great job for the team, because he's batting in a position where, let's be fair, he's a 5 or a 6, and he's a lower middle order, and that number 3 position in England has been a problem position for 20 odd years. I mean, Jonathan Trott's probably one that's mastered it.
Yes.
Strauss was an opener, Vaughan was an opener, Belly was a middle order player, got thrust up there. So to see Pope go about his business and play the way he did, for me, I was very, very happy for him. The thing I seen that I noticed, and I said to Manners in the Super Over, I was on the field before the game, and he come walking past. He said hello, like he always does. Very, very polite, very, very, larger than life character. There was no change in Ollie Pope whatsoever. With all the pressure that comes in, England are now had a bad day. You'd expect England to come on the field, head down, give you nothing. And Ollie straight over, asked you how you were doing, said hello. That for me, it means he's level, he's grounded, he's not listening to the noise. He's ready for what is going to be a good challenge. He got through his first sort of 15 balls with rotation of strike, because Bumrah was bowling well, and he went on to get a magnificent 100, and hopefully he might get another one.
You ever been in a dressing room and one of the bowlers was just asleep?
Yeah.
Describe the scene over there, just on the table, where we've been commentating all day.
Yeah, not too much. I'm pleased he's got tight shorts on.
I was thinking exactly the same thing.
I'm pleased Manners has got tight shorts on. It's been a long day. It's been a long day in the sun, yeah.
And Manners is making his feelings clear, as is his wont.
Well, at this time yesterday, John, just behind where the camera is, there was a whole bucket of beers, and pizzas, which Manners was diving into.
And Surrey were on the TV
in
as
Surrey
well.
on the telly.
I was just watching Surrey destroy our local rivals, Middlesex, whilst chatting to you guys.
So you were happy.
Heroes growing up about a day's cricket here at Headingley.
You were happy.
We won't keep you long. I mean, you can go.
I tell you what, if I go for another 5 minutes, tickle Manners' ear and he'd be asleep, chuck a pillow, and you don't even have to put a duvet on him. Like one of them tablecloths over the top.
Let's look ahead to day 3 then. It's set up really nicely. Jeremy was asked on comms, what position would you rather be in? I mean, that wasn't a question at the end of day 1, but it was a valid one at the end of day 2. England 200 and the scoreboard's been turned off. 209 for 3. They trail by 200 and I've written it down in my book. 262. 7 wickets in hand. Centurion at the crease. India a little bit one-man attack about them. I think you would still rather be in India's position, wouldn't you? Though they've got the runs on the board.
Runs on the board is massive. They've got a bowler in Jasprit Bumrah who's a long way into a decent spell. He's got 5 in him tomorrow morning, first up, and then they're going to have to protect him, because he's going to have to potentially bowl in that end of the first session into the middle session. If England can get through that period, then all of a sudden, if England have not lost the wicket by drinks, then I think it shifts big time, because England will be 200 behind, 3 wickets down. Harry Brooks out off a no ball was massive in the context of the game. And do you know what? If we're sitting here tomorrow night, and England are still batting or have just finished batting, then the Stokes decision at the toss will be we've either close to or gone past India, and we're now right back in the game. And the thing for me with that is, India have had their best day, England have had their best day, and it'll be a case of who can have that first hour, 2 hours tomorrow. And if it's England, and England have another good day, then what has India got to come back with? And that, for me, would be a huge question in an inexperienced dressing room with an inexperienced captain on an England tour first up. Let's see what they make of.
Let's see. You're going to find out on talkSPORT and talkSPORT Cricket YouTube channel. Myself and Harmy, Jeremy Coney, Neil Manthorp, if he wakes up. We'll be back for day 3 here at Headingley. But for now, thanks for joining us on Following On.